You know, today throughout this state and this country, we celebrated the life and the legacy and the achievements of a patriotic American, the greatest civil rights leader in this country who did more to advance social equality and economic justice than any other person of his time and since. Today we celebrated the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And I just want to say that on January 16, 2012, I am indeed proud to be an American and proud to be in this country.
I cannot wait to get on my show tomorrow. I'm going to brag that somebody asked the question in Annapolis, what would Martin do? How would Martin handle it? Fred Mason, and to all of you here tonight, you answered the question. Martin would be here for jobs. Martin would be here for justice. Martin would be here for equality, and you're here tonight.
Just look at you. Some folks would think, okay, it's a Monday night, a holiday. It's dark out here. It's the last little bit of a long weekend. What you doing here, right? Well, we are doing what we were taught to do. Every time Dr. King stepped forward, he was not doing anything to take a day off. He was taking a day on. So a part of what you're doing is not taking a day off for a holiday. You are doing a day on for service. A day to make people remember why it was that a man who was only in his 30s gave up his life. A day why people who were in their 80s marched from Selma to Montgomery. A day why people who are still struggling refuse to give up, but they're standing up. They're standing up for one another for jobs. They're standing up for one another for justice. They're standing up for one another for respect. Respect and dignity is not something that you could put a price tag on. Respect and dignity is not something that someone can give you. You earn it.
Look, for the longest time, unions have been partnering with the NAACP, and we want to give a shout out for all the unions who came together today to make this thing happen.
Some folks say, why are we in Annapolis at 6 o'clock in the evening? Because this is the center of power in this state. And this is where we need to be. This is where we need to be talking about a message for jobs, that we don't care whatever else they do down here in the next 90 days. Too many people in the state of Maryland need jobs. We have too many bad situations, bad housing, bad schools in the state. People need jobs.
Preach.
People also want justice. Justice means that everybody pays their fair share. Individuals and corporations. Everybody pays their fair share. The message that I was raised on is that those to whom much is given, much is required. So if you're a millionaire, you need to pay more. And that's what we're saying this evening.
We in AFSCIO carry a special honor and a special burden on Martin Luther King Day. It was because he wanted to support working sanitation workers in Memphis that Dr. King traveled there in April of 1968 and gave his life for working people.
Because it's high time that everybody understands that we want jobs and we want justice, and we're not prepared to wait for it. We want jobs and we want justice, and we want it now. It's high time that we recognize that when a father and when a single mother has jobs, that it doesn't necessarily just affect that person, but joblessness affects families. So it's high time that people recognize the priorities of people taking a stand for working families, of people taking a stand for young people who are subsidizing the bills of their family members. They're paying gas and electric bills, helping to contribute to the mortgage and things of that particular nature. It's not just about anymore about buying school clothes and things of that particular nature. It's high time that we stand up for working families. And so,
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm tired of struggling.
justice in this state and in this country. Do you think it's right that the millionaires in Maryland were the only ones who had a tax credit? No! Do you think it's right that multi-state, multinational big businesses don't pay any taxes to Maryland? No! Do you think it's right that cyber sellers don't pay any taxes while the mom and pop struggles to stay alive in this economy? No! Then we demand economic justice. We demand fairness.
Let me just continue by saying we are the 99%ers. That 1%, we're going to show them what we're about. And some of them, some of that 1% is right here. Look at these pictures right here. Look at it. There you go. There's Dopey right there. There's Doc. There's Sneezy. There's Grumpy. Grumpy. There's Bashful. There's Happy. And there's Snow White.
And what we've noticed is that at a time when we have an economic recession thanks to George W. and more people than ever before, for the first time, are going to the Department of Social Services, are going to the unemployment office, and what are they finding? 5,000 less state employees to help provide them those services. And we have troubled people with psychological problems who are in our state hospitals. And what's happening? Person after person is doing a mandatory double shift where they face termination if they refuse to work a second shift to care for the mentally ill here in Maryland. Is that right? No! And many of us want safe neighborhoods. We want enough probation agents to work with parolees and offenders to help them get back into the job market. But how can they do it when instead of having 50 cases, they've got over 200 cases a person? How can they do it? Is that right? No! What we need now is to acknowledge that we need to save our state. We need to save our state.
Save our state! Save our state!
What do we want?
Jobs!
When we want them?
Now!
The governor and I hear you. Last week, we announced an investment of $372 million in new school construction in our state to put 11,000 Marylanders back to work. Last week we announced $260 million that will be invested in affordable housing to bring more workforce housing and to put Marylanders back to work. What do we need? Jobs. When do we need them? Now. I'm coming back to Annapolis. I'll see you next Monday. God bless
you. This has become a family affair. And by the way, Lieutenant Governor, I heard every word you said. I'm going to check you out in 13 weeks. Amen.
So we're here today to give honor to Dr. King and a dream that he had. The question is, are we going to dream about the dream, or are we going to live the dream?
We're living it.